The monetary policy of the United States is conducted by the Federal Reserve System, which acts as the nation's central bank. Dollars or units, each to be of the value of a Spanish milled dollar is the same as now current, and to contain 371 grains and 4/16 parts of a grain of pure, or 416 grains of standard silver. Unlike the Spanish milled dollar, the Continental Congress and the Coinage Act prescribed a decimal system of units to go with the unit dollar, as follows: 1314, the mill, or 1/1000th of a dollar, the cent, or 100th of a dollar, the dime, or 1/10th of a dollar, and the eagle, or $10. In 1854, Secretary of the Treasury James Guthrie proposed creating $100, $50, and $25 gold coins, to be referred to as a union, half union, and quarter union, respectively, 19, thus implying a denomination of 1 union equals $100. The sign was the result of a late 18th century evolution of the scribal abbreviation PS for the peso, the common name for the Spanish dollars that were in wide circulation in the New World from the 16th to the 19th centuries. The minting of machine-milled Spanish dollars since 1732 boosted its worldwide reputation as a trade coin and positioned it to be model for the new currency of the United States. Even after the United States Mint commenced issuing coins in 1792, locally minted dollars and cents were less abundant in circulation than Spanish-American pesos and reales, hence Spanish, Mexican and American dollars all remained legal tender in the United States until the Coinage Act of 1857. In particular, colonists' familiarity with the Spanish 2-real quarter peso was the reason for issuing a quasi-decimal 25-cent quarter dollar coin rather than a 20-cent coin. For the relationship between the Spanish dollar and the individual state colonial currencies, see Connecticut pound, Delaware pound, Georgia pound, Maryland pound, Massachusetts pound, New Hampshire pound, New Jersey pound, New York pound, North Carolina pound, Pennsylvania pound, Rhode Island pound, South Carolina pound, and Virginia pound. It called for silver coins in denominations of 1/2, 1/4, 1/10, and 1/20th dollar, as well as gold coins in denominations of 1/2 and 1/4 eagle. The value of gold or silver contained in the dollar was then converted into relative value in the economy for the buying and selling of goods. The Continental Congress also began issuing continental currency denominated in Spanish dollars. Make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts being written into the United States Constitution Article 1, Section 10. In order to finance the War of 1812, Congress authorized the issuance of Treasury notes, interest-bearing short-term debt that could be used to pay public dues. In February 1862, Congress passed the Legal Tender Act of 1862, issuing United States notes, which were not redeemable on demand and bore no interest, but were legal tender, meaning that creditors had to accept them at face value for any payment except for public debts and import tariffs. Griswold that Congress could not require creditors to accept United States notes, but overturned that ruling the next year in the legal tender cases. Congress continued to issue paper money after the Civil War, the latest of which is the Federal Reserve note that was authorized by the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Despite all links to gold being severed in 1971, the dollar continues to be the world's foremost reserve currency for international trade to this day. The Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 also defined the post-World War II monetary order and relations among modern-day independent states, by setting up a system of rules, institutions, and procedures to regulate the international monetary system. The monetary policy of the United States is conducted by the Federal Reserve System, which acts as the nation's central bank. It was founded in 1913 under the Federal Reserve Act in order to furnish an elastic currency for the United States and to supervise its banking system, particularly in the aftermath of the Panic of 1907. The United States Mint has issued legal tender coins every year from 1792 to the present. Gold and silver coins have been previously minted for general circulation from the 18th to the 20th centuries. Mint mark conventions for these and for past mint branches are discussed in Coins of the United States dollar #mint marks. The Federal Reserve note is the only type that remains in circulation since the 1970s. With the exception of the $100,000 bill, which was only issued as a Series 1934 gold certificate and was never publicly circulated, thus it is illegal to own, these notes are now collector's items and are worth more than their face value to collectors. The Federal Reserve Act created the Federal Reserve System in 1913 as the Central Bank of the United States. The monetary policy of the United States is conducted by the Federal Open Market Committee, which is composed of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors and 5 out of the 12 Federal Reserve Bank presidents, and is implemented by all 12 regional Federal Reserve Banks. Monetary policy refers to actions made by central banks that determine the size and growth rate of the money supply available in the economy, and which would result in desired objectives like low inflation, low unemployment, and stable financial systems. Through these channels, monetary policy influences spending, investment, production, employment, and inflation in the United States. Commercial banks then decide how much money to keep in deposit with the Federal Reserve and how much to hold as physical currency. The Federal Reserve's monetary policy objectives to keep prices stable and unemployment low is often called the dual mandate. The Spanish dollar was later displaced by the British pound sterling in the advent of the international gold standard in the last quarter of the 19th